Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here for the annual Spring Spirit Breakfast of Champions. My name is Sherman Chow. I'm with Channel 11, longtime Spring Spirit cheerleader. We want to begin the morning with an invocation by Faith Garza. She is 9 years old. She's going to step up right here. And why don't you stand here? So, there we go. A little easier. That podium is not exactly the right height. Here you go, Faith.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we are grateful and thankful for this day and for Spring Spirit. We appreciate your love, mercy, and guidance. Father, I pray your blessings over everyone gathered here today. I ask that your blessings, you bless this meal. We love you and we welcome your presence here today. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Faith. Please begin and enjoy your breakfast, and we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Thank you. We'd like to go ahead and begin our breakfast event. Thank you so much for being here, for braving that valet line. I know you find it hard to believe, but this is the best attended Spring Spirit Breakfast of Champions yet. Don't tell the fire marshal how many people we've squeezed in here. We are really excited to share with you the impact that you have helped to make with Spring Spirit. You're going to learn in a minute about the fantastic programs and the youth that have been helped by Spring Spirit. And of course, we want to be able to acknowledge our amazing honorees, Betty and Jesse Tudor. We have a very exciting interview between two MLB legends, our own Lance Berkman and, of course, Dusty Baker. It is a packed event, and as always, we aim to get you out of here by 8:45. The clock is ticking, so let's see if we can do this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin. Help me welcome our own Spring Spirit founder and president, Kenny Baldwin. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny.
All right, so the clock's ticking, so I got to get it on. So, first of all, I just want to thank you again for all of y'all for coming out here. We know it's early and you all have a lot to do, so we couldn't be more thankful that y'all would choose to share some of your morning with us this day. I have the pleasure of introducing our this year's honorees, Betty and Jesse Tudor, which I'm not even sure I haven't had a chance to. There they are. All right. Jim Jackson, who's not here, I don't think he's not here yet, is he? No. Jim Jackson once told me that one of the most important skills a person had to have in order to have any measure of success in life was the ability to say, I need your help. 4 words, I need your help. And at first it was a little bit of at first glance I thought that's an interesting observation. But after thinking about it, you come to realize that it is very, very hard to ask for help. And there's all kinds of reasons. There's pride, there's arrogance, there's anxiety. But certainly one of the most important reasons is the fact that when you ask for help, you're vulnerable. And you don't even know, you don't want to be rejected. So the fear of rejection is an issue. And so you hesitate and you don't ask. And when you need to have help, you don't ask because you don't want to be rejected. That's the case in most instances, except for if you're asking Jesse or Betty Tudor for help. And that's exactly the way I think about them. I've known them since 1981, and I've watched them in the early years, and in the later years, I've personally been the one going up to ask them. I've known them since 81 when I began my consulting career, and Jesse was a partner. And though I didn't work with him directly, his influence across our firm was unmistakable. He's always been a role model for supporting others, whether that be mentoring staff or supporting worthy causes in the community. To recite the list of causes that Betty and Jesse have supported over the years would take more than the 2 or 3 minutes that I've been allotted for this entire intro. But suffice it to say, the list is long. It's very, very long. I remember the first time I met them personally. It was at a Christmas party, my first Christmas party at Accenture. And I felt very awkward being there. I was a washed-up baseball player trying to make it and transition into the professional corporate world. But I sat at their table. I had the lucky draw to sit at their table. And I don't know if they remember it or not. I don't know if I did anything that was embarrassing that would cause them to remember it or not. But I was in there trying to figure out which, the D and the D and the B and which fork to use and all this other stuff. But I remember how Betty made me feel. She just made me feel really, really comfortable, even though I felt awkward. And I remember just how I kind of felt like she really took an interest in who I was and why I was there. And I mean, her deep blue eyes looking at you and gazing, almost feeling like it's gazing right through you. But it was an awesome feeling. And I remember feeling, man, I think I've found somebody that could be like my second mom in this gig. So, and years later, my mother, who got to know the Tudors very, very well, and she's still alive, my mother told me, I think Jesse and Betty are special mentors in your life. And my mom's always right, and she was right at that one too. So what made them special is really their ability to really care, in my mind. I mean, everybody here knows that when if you're here, it's because you've had some success in life or you're on your own journey. You know other people have helped you. You know when somebody really cares and wants to help. When they genuinely listen to understand, when they genuinely are open to trying to, help you make the right next steps. When they will challenge you when you need to be challenged, and when they will encourage you when they need to be encouraged. And that's really what Jesse and Betty, I've seen them do over the years in so many instances, in so many ways, and I felt this myself, in my professional career and more directly here at SpringSpirit. So fast forward to 2008, when we were being formed, our vision was modest. Melissa and I knew that we needed help because we were in a space that we'd never been before. And we just prayed for provision, the provision to get started. And when somehow in that prayer, I felt the Lord say, you've met a lot of people. And many of y'all are here right now, and everybody has different abilities and different skills and different experiences to bring to bear. But you met a lot of people. Who is it that has the experience at serving? Who is it that has the credibility to stand alongside of you? Who is it that would lend you the counsel of working with so many nonprofits in the city of Houston? Who is it that is right there with you, that knows you, that cares, and that would say, this is a crazy idea or this is a good idea? And it was Jesse and Betty Tudor. So I don't think it's coincidental that for 28 years I had been blessed to observe Jesse's leadership in action at Accenture, or to witness how he and Betty had helped make society better in so many ways here in Houston, or to personally know their heart and how they are all about serving, or to know that even though they were well within their own retirement, that if I dared to ask, they would say yes. So Jesse, of course, answered the call, and along with many others in this room, he helped shape the ministry that today we call SpringSpirit. Jesse was our first and longest tenured board chair, serving for 6 years from 2009 to 2015. And though serving 6 years as the chairman of a startup ministry is an impressive commitment, Jesse has remained active to this day. True to form, Jesse has always agreed to help when called on. Serving in many key roles along the way where we needed his experience in diplomacy, he's been a great partner and mentor throughout the journey, and we couldn't be more thankful for his and Betty's contribution. Please join me in a big round of applause for our honorees today, Betty and Jesse Tudor. You got to come up here. So while y'all are walking up here, I know that they've been married 55 years, and while Jesse's been only mentoring me for, 35 or 40 years, I guess that means, Betty, you've been mentoring Jesse for 55 years. And as I've told Jesse, don't worry, not too much longer. I'm almost got it. I'm sure he's told you he's almost got it. Thank y'all.
Hey, other than my wife, Kenny can dream of more things to do than anybody I know. That's why he needs a lot of help. But he gets a lot of help because he's so loving and caring. And he and Melissa put the kids, the community first in everything they've done with SpringSpirit. And we have been involved with a lot of organizations. I know no other charitable organization that is as financially well off as SpringSpirit, disciplined, knowing your dollars are going to be well spent. And I know of no other charity that has the board that every member on it is active, participating, and committed to the mission. So we're just blessed to have been a small part of it.
Thank you, Jesse. And thank all of y'all.
Congratulations and thank you to Jesse and Betty Tudor. Another round of applause for them, please. So this is the part, if you'll indulge me, where I'd like to take a quick picture of the room and send it out to the Twitterverse. So if you see my camera, I'm going to do a pano. I will see you if you will smile. And in that second, right after that, we're going to go ahead and recognize our chairs and some other members. So give me one moment, if you would, please. All right, let's see if I can do this without falling off. You ready? Here we go. Don't move. Oh, you guys were great. You're like pros. You've done this before. Outstanding. All right, we would love to recognize right now Kat and Brian, if you want to stand, Kara and Lance, if you might stand as well, and the entire board of directors of SpringSpirit. If you would all stand, please, so that we may recognize you, and thank you. It's a whole lot of work to put something like this on, and of course, to go ahead and put this ministry together. So thank you for all of your efforts. If, ladies and gentlemen, you would now turn your attention to the screens, we have a very special story of Meredy Torres.
I was born in Monterrey, Mexico, and I came here when I was 7 with my mom. SpringSpirit came to like my school. They offered like softball and like baseball, so everyone was so excited. So I remember telling my mom, and we ended up going to sign me up to play softball, and then I've been going ever since. Yeah.
El principal motivo fue para que ella se mantuviera ocupada y después descubrimos que tenían deportes, educación y todo eso la mantenía ocupada.
I got there for a softball practice, and I just saw like kids everywhere, and like I was still learning English, so, but a lot of them spoke Spanish, so I really like, that's how I met some of my friends. It was just, it felt right being with those girls. They would pull us out of practice to go to tutoring if you had like a 70 or like just not very good grades. That helped me push myself a lot in 8th grade when I was having trouble.
She was in middle school, and I met her at SpringSpirit. She was very shy when we first met. She's now a young, confident young lady.
All my teenage years I've been with Georgia. I look up to her and her family.
They said, "Teacher, where are you staying?"
Well, it's just so amazing to go to the Friday night Bible studies and to see the families there, not only the kids, but the families, and just how they're encouraged and loved by the people of SpringSpirit.
Meredy ha crecido en muy buena comunidad ahí, muy buenos ejemplos, educación principalmente, y llegar hasta donde está ahorita con sus proyectos de vida.
I think she always planned to go to college. Even when she was in middle school, that was something that she really wanted to do and worked toward that.
I just knew it was right for me to like thank my mom for bringing me here and like giving up a lot And for myself, I just want to go to college and I want to do something with my life. I knew SpringSpirit would help me. They helped me a lot. I had no idea what I was doing. My financial aid was really very hard. That's what really broke me down. Towards the end of the school year, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to afford going to school. When I saw what they awarded me, I was very happy and super emotional. I was finally all my hard work paid off.
Meredith me marcó para contarme que se había ganado la beca y la habían aceptado y ella estaba muy contenta.
I just think the sky's the limit, and this girl can do whatever she wants to do.
They've kept me going through the right path. Growing up in not a very good neighborhood, and SpringSpirit has always been a safe spot. If I had the chance to, I would want to donate and give a scholarship to SpringSpirit. I really thought about it ever since I got a scholarship from them. I was I want to give back when I get the chance and just help someone out like they helped me.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Rachel Owens, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer for SpringSpirit, and I'm very honored to be here today to share with you some of last year's highlights. Before I do that, though, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to Meredith Torres and to her mother, Carla, for sharing their story. Since that video, she's completed her first semester at UTSA very successfully. We know she has a bright future, and we're so excited to watch it unfold for her. And now I'm excited to tell you about the impact SpringSpirit made in the community last year. Let's start with some overall numbers. This will give you a sense of SpringSpirit's reach into the community. We served over 2,100 participants and their families last year. Our staff and volunteers had over 42,000 interactions with them. That's an increase of 11,000 interactions from the previous year, which just gives you a sense of the growth we've experienced. The kids that we've served came to us from 160 different schools covering pre-K all the way through 12th grade. And we have over 500 volunteers continuing to support SpringSpirit's reach into the community. We served over 2,100 participants and their families last year. Our staff and volunteers had over 42,000 interactions with them. That's an increase of 11,000 interactions from the previous year, which just gives you a sense of the growth we've experienced. The kids that we've served came to us from 160 different come from the community that we serve. Now, as you saw in the video, SpringSpirit exists to provide pathways for youth to realize life opportunities through sports, education, and mentoring programs based on Christian principles. We accomplish this through our whole child approach, in which we combine programming across 3 pillars: our mind, body, and soul. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we achieved in each of these pillars this year. In our mind pillar, we focus on education. And last year, we deepened our efforts to support elementary literacy and college prep. We collected over 400 reading levels from our elementary school participants. We use these reading levels to identify elementary school students who are reading below their expected grade level, and we invite them to engage in our LIER program, which stands for Lifting Every Elementary Reader. Our goal is that all of our elementary school students will enter middle school reading on grade level. And as we work with them and we deepen our understanding of their academic strengths and weaknesses, we're also better positioned to support their academic success long-term. At the high school level, we strive to make sure that all of our participants will graduate from high school and pursue some form of higher education or training. We work with all of our high school students to make sure each one has a plan to attend either a technical school, a 2-year school, a 4-year school, or to join the military after high school, and we call that their T24 plan. We're proud to say we've had steady growth in our graduate numbers since we started our college prep programming in 2017. In 2023, we had the largest graduating class yet of 38 graduates, and you can see on this slide just some of the amazing schools our graduates are now attending. Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about our ministry programming. In our soul pillar, we strive to deepen the faith foundation of all of our participants and their families. We had over 1,600 people engage with us in our ministry programs last year. That includes our Friday Night Live Family Worship Night, we call it FNL, small group Bible studies for middle school and high school students, Christian summer camps. You can see we spent over 300 kids to Christian summer camps last year, and our special events such as Christmas or Easter, where we share the message of hope with the community. In adult ministry last year, we had 25 ladies attend weekly Bible studies and 38 parents who graduated from our Raising Highly Capable Kids Parent Development Program. We also had an average of 40 men attending a monthly gathering led by Generaciones Church. It is our sincere prayer that the seeds planted from these programs and these experiences lead to a lifetime of purpose and direction for these youth and their families. Lastly, our body pillar. In our body pillar, we focus on building confidence and teaching life lessons through recreational and competitive sports. Last year, the majority of our growth came from our recreational sports program. That includes baseball, soccer, and softball. A total of 796 children participated with us in rec sports last year across 63 different teams. And those teams were led by an amazing force of over 200 volunteer-led team moms and coaches who come from the SpringSpirit community, which just furthers our longstanding goal to have the community come together and serve each other. Our competitive level teams also saw growth across sports. Another one of our baseball players, Isaiah Ramirez, is now officially playing college baseball at McAllister College in St. Paul, Minnesota. Our 12U Lady Toros softball team qualified to go to the Gulf Coast Nationals for the second year in a row, and last year came home with the championship trophy in the 12U Open Division. And our U18 girls soccer team competed in both tournaments and showcases and went undefeated for 32 games from May through December. We're excited to announce as well that in partnership with Legacy Sports Training, we now have a first-class weight room and workout gym for our athletes to further their physical development under certified trainers. Now, all of this would not be possible without the support of our amazing mentors. In our mentoring program, we match participants with caring Christian adult mentors who meet at least once a month with their mentees to provide support and guidance as they grow. Without this network of over 140 mentors, we wouldn't have the ability to invest as deeply in the lives of our youth. In fact, we have a bold goal. We would like to match all of our participants with mentors, and we need your help to meet that objective. The combination of our three pillars, mind, body, and soul, along with mentoring and community engagement, work together to help children recognize their God-given gifts, introduce them to the gospel, disciple them as they grow, and prepare them for opportunities to grow into their potential. Before I close, you need to know that we can't and we don't do this work alone. We have incredible partners who work alongside us in the community. Thank you to each of you representing one of these partnerships here today. And thank you as well to our wonderful board members, our donors, our volunteers, and our amazing staff. These are shared successes only made possible with your support, your hard work, and your dedication. Now I'm very excited to turn the mic over to one of our outstanding graduates from the class of 2023. Anna Martinez is an example for all of our future SpringSpirit graduates to follow. And with the help of everyone in this room, you can be sure SpringSpirit will continue to create opportunities for youth like Anna in the coming years. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to see you all present today. My name is Ana Sofia Martinez, and I am a proud member of the SpringSpirit community. I am both honored and deeply humbled to be standing before you today and share my story. Be someone, a 9-letter sign many of us have seen above I-45. As a child, I would look out the window to see these words and wonder what I would grow up to be considered someone. Actress, artist, astronaut, musician, astronaut and a musician. I dreamt of becoming everything and anything. While it would be difficult to encapsulate all of my childhood aspirations, I believe I'm able to share some childhood memories with you today, and in doing so, provide a foundation for my story. I was born and raised in Houston to 2 immigrant parents. Both my mother and father immigrated from Mexico and worked as hard as they could to assimilate into the US. Despite struggling to make ends meet, my parents never let it stop them from supporting me and my younger brother, Alvin, and teaching us the importance of faith, discipline, and family. From the start, it was clear that my family was quite small. It was overwhelming to know that in a country of 332 million, it was only us 4. However, we quickly realized the value of exploring our community and meeting new people. Talking to others with a similar experience made it less stressful to navigate this country, find guidance, but more importantly, feel at home. And so you can imagine that finding SpringSpirit was pretty much like hitting the jackpot. From a young age, my brother started to play baseball at SpringSpirit, and eventually I joined in on the fun, playing softball and volunteering at SpringSpirit's LID reading program. Packing coolers and hurrying off to games became a new normal in my household. We are a small but tight family, and so even after my mother and father eventually split, they still emphasized the importance of being there for each other, their community, and their kids. But like a curveball, life happened. And our weekend games, our daily interactions, even our family dynamic would drastically change in ways we couldn't have ever imagined. As you all remember, COVID brought forth an overwhelming period of confusion, disruption, and stress. For us, kitchen table bills started to pile up, a reminder that even though the whole world had stopped, rent was still due. And while my mother tried her best to keep us afloat with her job as a housekeeper, social distancing made it impossible to afford the cost of living. I truly never imagined how things could get any worse. However, in April of 2020, they did. My mother called me at midnight to tell me that my father had fallen gravely ill with COVID and was being rushed to the hospital. I remember listening, but not really processing what she had said. I honestly tried convincing myself that it was all a bad dream and just go back to sleep. But that didn't change the fact that my father was isolated in a hospital room. Days turned into weeks, and weeks soon turned into months. He wasn't getting any better. And the pain and anger of not being able to see my father was more than I could handle. And I was so deeply afraid that I wouldn't be able to say goodbye. Just 2 months after being in the hospital, though, our worst nightmares came true. My father had passed away. In the loss, I was so hurt and so angry that I couldn't envision a future. My family and I had already been through so much, and I couldn't believe that now we'd have to endure my father's death as well. All I wanted during this time was to see him one last time. You see, the last I had seen of my dad was in March. A smiling man whose belly laugh echoed in rooms. I couldn't accept that I wouldn't get to honor his life and the love he had for others. But I knew that funerals were expensive, and our family still had to pay for food and rent, so a funeral just wasn't realistic. But just as I was about to lose hope, SpringSpirit stepped in. Through their presence, I quickly realized there's a greater family and a web of people out in my community waiting to help us, and even the most difficult of times. We were even able, with their help, to honor my father properly with a memorial service. With time, I slowly started to heal, but more importantly, open up, reassured by the fact that despite social distancing, I had a whole community in my corner. After quarantine had ended, my family and I remained involved at SpringSpirit, engaging in a variety of activities such as FNL, volunteering at LID, and through their other community events. However, one of the most impactful experiences I had thus far was being able to be connected with my mentor. In my sophomore year of high school, I was paired with my mentor, Regina. Not only has she pushed me to trust my abilities, but she has comforted me by sharing her own life experience and wisdom. While it took me a while to open up, I'm glad I did, and some of my best memories are being able to share my victories with her. From an early age, I remember loving school and eventually wanting to go to college. However, as a first-generation college student, the thought of going to university was confusing and at times quite daunting. School supplies, moving away from home, and the overall financial burden of attending college made my dreams seem unattainable. However, with encouragement and guidance from my mentor, Regina, and SpringSpirit, I was able to focus on my goals, navigate the financial aid process, and confidently apply to the college of my dreams. Today, I proudly stand before you, a college freshman, double majoring in both architecture and environmental and sustainable studies at Carnegie Mellon University. Through SpringSpirit's continued support, I'm not only able to stay warm in the cool winter months with new coats, but have the tools and supplies that I need for my major. Despite just beginning this portion of my life, I am eternally grateful for SpringSpirit, knowing that they have set me up for success. So, what have I learned from all of this? Life is not linear, and if it's anything like Houston traffic, it has taught me to be patient. A quality of mine which I am still trying to perfect. As I look back, my childhood fantasies of becoming a famous singer or artist do fit into the mold of what it means to be something, but not someone. The someone I was called to be is so much greater than can be captured in a job title, because it's like what my parents taught me from the very beginning. It's about our faith, our discipline, our family. It's about how we show up and love others. And today, I stand as someone greater than I ever envisioned myself to become, perseverant. Honestly, it might be the stubbornness I inherited from my dad, but I would like to believe I persevered because of the support I received from others. And you know what I think is really cool? It's not just me. The someone you are called to be is greater than any job title, too. It's about our character, our faith, our discipline. It's about how we show up and love others. You know that. That's why you're here this morning. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your extravagant grace. By you being someone, you have allowed me and so many others like me to be someone too.
Thank you, Anna. What an amazing story she has, an amazing future ahead of her. My name is Mary Beth Gracie Martinez, and now, for the moment you have all been waiting for, you finally get to open that pledge card that is on your table. I know, I've been excited about it too. Are the little lines where you write all your contact information sized exactly half as large as your most compact penmanship? Did they reference writing a check as if people carry checkbooks anymore? Well, spoiler alert, yes. But there is something different about this year's pledge card, and if you'll please take a look at it with me, I'd like to explain. It's in front of your plates. As you've heard this morning, SpringSpirit is healthy, has a track record of success in developing the whole child, and has the runway to do more. And in order to realize the opportunity in front of us, we need to grow our supporters and expand our network in multiple ways. So we need help finding more people like you, people that have a heart for this work and this community and for the whole child approach, and can become our next generation of board members, donors, and friends of SpringSpirit. So please think through your network for people and organizations that might be moved to support us through time, talent, or treasure. Maybe a church connection, a work colleague, the friend of a friend who you know this mission would resonate with, and share their names here where it says, "Help us grow SpringSpirit." We would love to talk to them about SpringSpirit. Now, as you've heard about the volunteers earlier today, we also need more volunteers to be able to have a greater impact. You'll also see Get Involved, where you can indicate where you might be interested in being a volunteer as we scale these programs. In the interest of time, I won't go through them all, but let me highlight a couple of things. Mentoring is just 1 hour per month. It comes really pre-wired by SpringSpirit with activities that you can join in on with your mentee, and it's a great way to personally encourage, inspire, and develop these kids. And then I wanted to mention the reading program. It's just a once-a-week appointment that helps these kids gain this essential skill. There really is no more effective way for a child to learn than with the guidance of a more experienced reader. So please take a second to think if any of these opportunities could be right for you. Now, if nothing makes you feel more like writing a check than being asked to volunteer, then by all means, scan the QR code, or write us that check. SpringSpirit will use your money wisely. And I'd like to end on a personal note. My husband, Jason Martinez, is a board member for SpringSpirit, and he grew up just around the corner from the Pittner campus. His parents were hard workers and good parents, but life was tough and opportunities for him were few. And never in that little boy's mind would he have imagined that 40 years later, he'd be eating breakfast at the River Oaks Country Club, listening to his wife over-explain how to fill out a pledge card. The generosity of people like you created the opportunities that resulted in a great education, a great job, a great life. His life was changed, so his kids' lives were changed. What we are doing here matters, and it all starts with the pledge card. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth. You try saying no to Mary Beth. I know Jason doesn't. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the part of the program you've all been waiting for. This is the time we get a little inside baseball. Please welcome to the stage a pair of World Series champions, former Astros, our own Lance Berkman, Houston Christian University baseball coach, and of course, Dusty Baker, who is also a winemaker part-time. Ladies and gentlemen, a pair of Renaissance men, our own Lance Berkman and Dusty Baker.
I don't think we're getting out of here by 8:45.
I don't think so either. Especially you got my wristband.
That's right. The first thing I did, I got to go to spring training, it's been about 3 years ago now or so, right after Dusty got the job. And I mean, I got in that clubhouse and I went right to him and I was like, I need a pair of those wristbands because I've played against him a long time, seen him sitting over there with them. And I mean, they're iconic, so I had to wear them this morning.
You're looking pretty cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. I got your face on my wristband.
Gotcha.
Have you read these questions?
Yeah,
I haven't. So
yeah.
we're just,
okay.
We'll work through it.
I heard you don't follow the
I
script
really
anyway.
don't. I don't follow the script at all. But I do use it as sort of a template. You know, we don't want to stray too far. So first question on here, and I'm sure you get this a lot, talking about the high five, the invention of the high five.
Right.
I've heard that you're the guy. And so I want to hear kind of the story of how that came about. And is that true, first of all?
Well, I don't know if it's true or not. You know, they gave me credit for it.
Right.
And
who gives you credit? I mean, it's just sort of a rumor that's going around.
I don't know, man. It just came out.
Gotcha.
I swear. I was in LA at the time.
Right.
And then afterwards, Magic Johnson said he invented it. I don't even think he was in college yet.
Right.
And then what happened was my nemesis, J.R. Richard. I mean, this guy, he was the toughest pitcher I ever faced. And J.R., Reggie Smith told J.R. on a Thursday that I was going to hit my 30th home run off of him in order to have first four guys to hit 30 home runs on a team. I said, Reggie, why'd you tell J.R. that? I mean, this guy would strike me out 3 times, every time, and then come get me at the Astrodome and let's go have a drink. And
well, you want to make sure you were, like you made it to the ballpark and all that. I mean,
yeah, but the thing about it is, he'd honk the horn, get in. I'm trying to get on the bus. And he goes, hey, man, the game's over. I said, game's over for you because you struck me out 3 times.
Right. He's in a great mood.
Yeah, great move. And so anyway, I hit my 30th home run off JR, next to last at bat, and I was coming in across the home plate, and Glenn Burke, he threw his hand up, and I just hit it.
Okay.
That was it.
Perfect. And then a legend was born.
Yeah, and then from then on, they had high-fiving with the Dodgers. They had all make-up stuff. Now they even have a high-five day. Now, don't you think I should get part of that?
I mean, I don't know how you monetize that, but absolutely. I mean, I don't know.
Well, hey, if anybody can figure it out, it'd be you, Lance.
Who invented the low five?
Huh? I don't know.
All right, so that was
a bad question.
I didn't write these. There's some jokes in here too that I'm gonna ignore. So that's obviously a very memorable moment for you. I want to talk a little bit about, everybody has a different experience when they first get to the big leagues. You debuted in the major leagues in 1968, I think.
Yeah,
And
I was 19.
yeah, and I was 8 years from being born. So, can you tell me about your major league debut? Tell me what it was like, what you were feeling, where it was, all those things.
Actually, I think it was here in the Astrodome.
Yeah, that's what it says right here.
And I was facing, I was facing Mike Cuellar.
Okay.
And he threw me a screwball, and I grounded out to shortstop. But that was something where I really didn't even want to play baseball. I wanted to play basketball, and my parents got separated, and the Braves took a chance on me, drafted me, flew me to LA. And I prayed the night before because my dad would always, tell us to pray on a decision, or if you're at a crossroads. And I prayed, said, Lord, whatever it is, don't let me get drafted by the Atlanta Braves, whatever you do. And so I woke up the next day. I said, Lord, you didn't hear me. And as I was a kid from California, I didn't want to go to the South. That was a very trying time in our country.
Mm-hmm.
There were riots, anti-Vietnam, everything, peace and love. And so it's like I did not want to go to the South, which ended up being the best thing that happened to me, because Hank Aaron promised my mother he'd take care of me as if I was his son. And so, Hank Aaron was partly responsible for me being called up. I went from not wanting to play baseball and go to college and play basketball. Next thing I know, the next year, I'm in the big leagues in my very first year. And I was on a fast track. I didn't realize how fast the track I was on, because I just figured, hey, man, if anybody's supposed to do it, it's supposed to be me. I was very confident in those days. and some used to call it cocky, but I thought I was pretty good.
Well, you wear wristbands with your own face on it, so I think that's the height of humility, actually.
Okay, lad. I'm gonna get you for that one. Okay.
But it's cool. Like it's one of Dusty. I played against the teams. I never got to play for Dusty, but I played against a lot of the teams that you managed. And it was like, this is the coolest dude in sports. Everybody somehow, the only other guy that I can remember that has the same kind of charisma and that he does stuff, and you're like, you would think about, if I put my face on my own wristbands, people would be like,
I didn't make that up.
I know, but I'm just saying, but you did wear it.
I did wear it. I must admit, I did wear it. And then a lot of people start wearing their own face after that.
Well, trendsetter.
How come you didn't get one?
Because I couldn't pull it off. That's
you
what I was
weren't
trying
cool enough.
No, I'm not cool enough. That's what I was just trying to say. The only other guy that could do stuff like that was Roger Clemens, the Rocket. Oh. He gave us all Rocket Man T-shirts that had a caricature of himself throwing a rocket on it. Spring training, and we're like, for real. And we're like, who is this guy? Who does he think he is? But by the end of it, everybody's like, I got my Rocket Man T-shirt.
I heard that.
And you're the same way. I got my Dusty wristbands. I'm wearing them to this day.
Yeah, but the Rocket Man, he was, what was he, 7 times?
Yeah, something like that.
Jeez.
He'd let you know.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, so, no, forget these questions for right now. I got some stuff that I want to talk about, okay? So one is, you've been in the game a long time, and I would love to hear how you feel like the game has changed, or if you think the game has changed from, I got into not an argument, but a discussion with some current players, and they were like, oh, you didn't have to face these guys throwing 100 miles an hour. I was like, first of all, yes, I did. The guys threw 100. Well, I played 10 years ago. It's not like they just invented a guy that could throw hard in the big league. And the second thing is, I said the guys today might have better stuff, but they're not better pitchers. The pitching is worse. The stuff is better.
Yeah,
guys
I agree with
so
that.
I would love to hear your perspective, since you've been in the game a lot longer than I've been alive. But how has this thing changed?
Why don't you tell some of the writers that?
I don't know. Yeah,
okay. I'll let you tell them.
Yeah.
No,
how
but check
has
it
it
out.
changed?
See, I had guys, if you think guys are telling you about guys throwing 100, I had some players ask me, was a catcher standing up in my day?
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean.
And you know, the thing about it that's changed is that now it just seems like guys try to throw as hard as they can.
Right.
And they're not pitching. And the major difference I see between today and yesterday was the knockdown pitch. I mean, that was the number one thing. You come to the big leagues, they say, okay, we know he can hit a fastball, or else he wouldn't be here. And then secondly, let's see if he can hit a curveball. Then let's see if he can hit a changeup. And then let's see if he can hit a slider. And if he can hit all those, the next thing they're going to say, let's see how he hits on his back. That means that you were knocked down. And then they would try to intimidate you. And there are some guys that could be intimidated. And there are some guys that truly try to intimidate, like Nolan Ryan. I mean, Nolan would. Then he'd walk around, he'd look at you, and then boom, up here. And, you know, that's where the game has changed. Plus, you know, it's getting harder to teach team because of, you know, the players know now how to get paid.
Yeah.
You know, you get paid on OPS, you get paid on this, and that, and it's getting harder and harder to teach team when we are it's about branding, you know, and I think branding is a little selfish to me because it's hard to, you know, from a guy that came up with teams and for a guy that was in the military and the Marines, you know, team is first. You know, to serve is to, you know, to lead is to serve. And as a good teammate, you know, I'm for you and you're for me. You've had some great teammates and you probably had some selfish teammates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a selfish teammate is very, very hard, you know, to take, you know, if you're trying to win. And, you know, this is where I think the game is, you know, has changed some because before we would get paid on winning. We'd get paid, it's like, hey, man, they're not going to trade all of us. They can't trade all of us because we're winning. As long as you're winning, they might pluck out a guy here, there, but it's getting, like I said, that's the toughest thing. And
that's why I'm coaching in college, honestly, because the pro game has become so, everybody's their own institution, everybody's their own franchise. It's really tough to find that team concept.
But, you know, when you get guys on your team that are team guys, team leaders, you know, that they really stand out. And they're really important, guys that can get to each other. And a lot of times the players can get to each other better than a coach can get to somebody. You know, I can tell them what to do. But a teammate can show them what to do. And I remember playing with Hank Aaron. You know, he would tell me the things, and he'd say, "Hey, Dusty, do you understand?" And every time I said, and I didn't hardly understand nothing. And so the thing about it is he would know I didn't understand. And he would tell me, okay, if you don't understand, at least retain what I'm telling you, and someday you'll see it. And, you know, that's what good teammates do. I mean, they tell you, and then sometimes they show you. And that's the thing that I remember.
Well, that's different because when I do something, Coach Graham told me to do something, I say, I don't understand. He said, you're an idiot. You know, that kind of stuff.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
You know, but I try not to use those words.
Right, yeah.
You know, like, you know, you're a dummy. You know,
right.
Like, and sometimes they are a dummy.
Yeah, well,
so,
I mean, shoe fits, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard that.
Well, hey, you mentioned the brushback pitch, and I got a bone to pick because when we were playing you guys in San Francisco, I don't know if you probably don't even remember this, but
maybe.
I was a young player, and we had this deal. Larry Durker was our manager, and Dirk.
Ooh, he was nasty too.
Well, he was, yeah, as a pitcher.
Oh.
But as a manager, sometimes it was like he'd call down to the bullpen and ask for somebody and say, Dirk, they sent that guy down 2 weeks ago. And he's like, oh, then give me somebody else, you know, that kind of thing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't put him in if he's not down there.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we were playing you guys, and I think the game was out of hand. I think we were up 4 or 5 runs, maybe even more than that. And I got to first base, and we had this deal where you were if it was a 3-2 count, you were running unless he took unless he put the stop sign on.
Right.
So I'm a young player. You know, I'm eager to please the manager. I'm on first base, and I look over there, 3-2 count, 1 out, and I didn't get I got the no sign. So that means I'm running. So I take off, and I felt like I was doing you guys a favor because I got thrown out by 10 feet, and I remember I was running off the field, and one of your guys started yelling at me, and I couldn't understand what the deal was. Yeah, why is this guy yelling at me? And my next at bat, the guy threw me like a first pitch slider in the other batter's box, and then I got drilled, with the next pitch. And I remember I looked over at you, and I was like, what the heck? And you gave me like the, what the heck? Why are you running when you're up 7 runs,
Well, how'd you know I did it?
And I was like, I want to be like, you got to hit Dirk. I mean, I'm not the one that made that call, so.
Yeah, but that's how it was back then.
No, I know. Trust me, I experienced it, and I got a piece of pain as a result of it. So I mean.
But back then you didn't embarrass the opposition.
Or you tried not to.
Yeah, you tried not to embarrass the opposition. You remain respectful. Depending on the score.
Now you try to embarrass the opposition.
Oh, I'm telling you now. Man. I mean, that kind of bothers me.
It bothers me a lot.
Yeah, but there's nothing you can do about it because everybody's doing it.
But you could start hitting folks.
Nah. That's why I got kicked out in the playoffs. Yeah. They thought I did it because the guy threw the thing, and I didn't do it.
Yeah, so you know what it feels like to get blamed for something that you didn't have any part of. Yeah,
man, most of my life.
That's right. Well. Speaking of, I got to tell this story, and I want to get your take on it from your side of it, because I know what I was experiencing. We had a little episode, which you played a minor role in. It was really kind of my deal, but you were managing in Chicago and for the Cubs, and I was playing in Houston, and we were kind of nip and tuck. I think this is around 2003.
Oh, yeah.
And so we were kind of like, we had to win as many games as we could coming down the stretch in September.
You guys beat us.
Yeah, but this is how we beat you. So bases loaded. Why does this thing keep going out? Can we get? Okay. Bases loaded. Late in the game, I come up. You go get Mike Remlinger from the bullpen, who's a hard-throwing lefty. I wasn't a very good right-handed hitter. Turned me around. And so this is a huge spot in the game. There's one out. All I got to do is hit a fly ball. We go up. So first pitch, fastball right down the middle. I take what I consider to be my best swing and foul it off. And I'm thinking, dadgummit, in the big leagues, you only get really one good pitch to hit, and I feel like that's it. And so the next pitch is right at my head.
I didn't call that one.
No, I know, but not with the bases loaded in a tie game, yeah. The next pitch is right at my head. I drop down, and somehow the ball, I don't know, to this day, I don't know how it missed me, but it went over my helmet, hit my bat. Are you remembering this?
Yeah, I remember that.
And I go yard sale, like, helmet goes flying, bat goes flying, I'm laying in the dust.
0-2.
Yeah, 0-2. Except for I'm about to get up off the ground, and Chuck Merriweather's home plate umpire, rest in peace, and I'm about to get up off the ground, and he goes, I think it hit him. And as soon as I heard that, I went,
oh.
And I mean, it was like, this is a free RBI, like it did. What would you do? Instead of being 0-2, now I've got a free base. So I play this thing up. I mean, I'm going like, I'm twitching, like I got a brain injury. You did.
He's faking. The guy is faking. It didn't hit him.
Now, but what I've always respected about you, like you weren't quite sure, so you were arguing in the most respectful way possible. And I remember looking up and seeing you over there with Chuck going, do you think that really hit him? That kind of thing. And so, anyway, the conclusion of that story is we scored that run, and poor Mike was so flustered, I think he gave up 6 runs after that, and we ended up walking to an easy victory. And, but when I got to first base, when I first got up, everybody's like standing ovation. What a warrior, this guy stays in the game. And so back then they didn't have, the video board, but they did have the TVs by the concession stand, and you started to hear this like grumble, like it didn't really hit him, and this wave kind of comes down. Then I went from standing ovation to being booed. First of all, do you remember that?
Oh, heck yeah, I remember that.
Tell me. Give me your perspective on that. What would you, like, let's say you managed a player that faked an injury like that. What would you do?
Well, if he is my player,
I think it's a great idea, yeah.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. Especially if it's going to lead to 6 runs, But see, I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
But see, you don't want to the guy's half dead.
Right.
You want to say he's faking.
Great acting job.
Oh, yeah, great act. I got to give you Academy Award on that one.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, we had some good battles.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean,
Yeah.
we had some, and I hated when Lance came to the plate because I knew he was going to put the ball in play. Number one, he might hit a homer, he might hit a double, and he had the flattest swing from both sides. I mean, now they're teaching upswing. This guy had the flattest swing from both sides, especially right-handed. Now,
Almost
see,
down, yeah.
Exactly, and see, you say you weren't a very good hitter right-handed. You could hit. I mean, you could really hit.
I probably wouldn't be sitting up here if I couldn't interview him.
Yeah, that's probably right. That's probably right. But I didn't know you're from Waco, huh?
Yeah. Well, born in Waco, and then I got attacked by the Baylor Bears, so we had to move from there. True story. A thing came after me, and during halftime of a football game, my aunt dated one of the handlers. She took me down there when they used to take the bear to the game, and it aggressively came towards me, and I had to climb the goalpost. And so from that point forward, I really don't like Baylor. So. No offense.
So you're an owl, though.
Yeah, I'm an owl. That's right.
Right.
And now I'm a Husky, so
Okay.
go figure. We got a Husky mascot in Houston, Texas. I don't know how that came about. But, hey, so another thing I want to ask you is about, you had a great career as a player and then obviously an illustrious career as a manager. I want the best moment that you've had on a baseball field. Now, I'm sure you'd say winning the World Series, but let's just kind of take that off the table. Best moment in the game that you had, and then also the worst moment that you can remember as a player or manager.
Okay, well, the best moment was probably 1974 when I was on deck when Hank Aaron broke the record. I was with Hank every day. I'd go to his room. He had two rooms. He had a fictitious room that said he was registered in because he had a lot of death threats, and he'd sleep in another room. And so we'd go to his room every day, myself and Ralph Garr, and make him laugh, and that's what he wanted to do. And it wasn't a very humorous time for him. It wasn't a very good time. He was getting divorced. He was going for the record. It was tough. And to watch him break the record, and he told me, he said, "Hey, man, I'm going to get this over with right now." And I know it wasn't my doing. He asked me what was my best moment. That was it. To see Hank break the record, to see his family come down on the field, and just to see him, everything that he went through, and see. I didn't know that when I got to Chicago, I was going to go through the same thing. I got death threats. I got all kind of racial hate mail, but I was prepared for it because I had been with Hank Aaron, and that's what most of my life is all about. The Lord prepared me in different ways and different times that I didn't even know I was being prepared to, handle the future, and that was one of them. Probably the worst time was in the World Series in San Francisco when my son got rescued home plate.
JT Snow.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember that or not, but see, I had cancer that year, and I didn't know if I was going to live or not. And I had prostate cancer. One of the worst days of my life is when the doctor says you have cancer. I'm like, ain't no way I got cancer. And he goes, yeah, you got cancer. So I was like, okay. The worst times at that time were the every 3-month checkup. When they say, hey, man, you're either cancer-free or it's back, and you're always trying to imagine that. And so I was trying to do everything to give my son, my 3-year-old son, as much as I could before, just in case something happened to me. And so I had all these bat boys out there. Everybody's kid was out there. Barry Bonds' kid was there. Sean Dunstan's kid was there. JT Snow kids were there. Whoever had a son, let him be the bat boy. And then my son asked me, he said, Dad, what do you do? The other guy plays left field, and you don't do nothing but just sit over there. And I was like, he said, son, that's a very important job.
That's right.
And so anyway, day for the World Series, that morning, my mother called me. And she says, son, I don't think that, he should be the bat boy today. I got a bad feeling. I said, come on, Mom, my son's done this for 22 times. He's the best bat boy we have. Anyway, his assignment was to get Kenny Lofton's bat because his dad was sitting over there in the corner. And so Kenny hits a ball, and this one little kid that nobody knew, the kid goes, I'm going to go get Kenny's bat. Well, my son was assigned to get Kenny's bat, and my son's very competitive. and he flew out there before I could get him. Oh, man, God. And then I almost got run over the home plate. So I get back to the dugout. I said, man, I bet my mom's going to call me any minute. And so I got in the clubhouse, phone rang, bling. Hello? Dusty. I said, oh, hi, Mom, how you doing? She says, I told you, you don't listen to me. That boy almost got run over and got killed in home plate. I said, Mom, I got to go. The president said, I don't care. You tell them to wait. That was the worst moment of my life.
That's good, yeah. I did want to give you the opportunity. I know that faith has been a big part of your life, your journey.
Yep.
Obviously, through great moments and the kind of moments that you just described. I mean, your relationship with the Lord has been something that's been a big part of your life. I'd love for you to talk, because this is a Christian organization. We're here to try to instill the gospel in the community and to these kids. And so, can you talk a little bit about the role of faith and your upbringing and those kind of things, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, as a kid, my dad was a deacon in the Baptist church, and we went to church every Sunday, and I was a junior deacon, and I really didn't like going to church that much because I wanted to stay home and play football or whatever we were going to do, but I didn't know how the effect that it was going to have on me later in life, and all my major decisions are done through prayer. And whatever the Lord tells me to do, I do now. But before, I did kind of what I wanted to do, and it ended up kind of screwed up most of the time. And, being the oldest of five, when I signed, like I said my prayers, don't let me get drafted by the Atlanta Braves. I didn't know which sport to play. I didn't know. I was at a crossroads. And then I was at a crossroads a number of times in my life at the end of my career. I really didn't want to coach. And again, I asked my dad, I said, Dad, what do I do? How do I make this decision? And he says, I want you to go to the mountaintop. Took my daughter, my brother, and his two girls. And so I'm checking in the hotel. I didn't know what to do. The Giants wanted me as a coach, and I really didn't want to coach. And so I was with the Giants 1 year. Guys checking in behind me, tapped me on the shoulder. I turn around, and it's the owner of the Giants, Bob Lurie. And so, I hadn't even prayed yet. I was at the mountaintop. I called my dad. I said, Dad, what do you think? You think that's a sign? And he goes, son, that's a sign that you went up there to see, and don't ask for a sign and ask the Lord to help you if you don't want to do what he tells you. And
Don't want to be like Gideon, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
lay
so,
that fleece out a couple times.
Oh, yeah. And so, like all my life, I've had I know the Lord has sent a guardian angel to protect me. Most of the things that I've done in my life, I was chosen to do it. Just like I was chosen, I feel, to come to the Astros at the time, because I didn't think that, I was going to manage again. I didn't know. I get a call from Jim Crane. He called me and said, hey, Dusty, we want to interview you. And I was like, really? I couldn't believe it. And I was like, good team, because most of the teams that I had inherited were second division teams, and this was a good team when I inherited. And it was a problem, yeah. I didn't know how much of a problem until I got here, but all my life, just like 2 days ago, I was on the way to a car show here, and like I said, I've always had a guardian angel. Before I get to that one, I had cancer 22 years ago. I had a stroke 8 years ago. I was in the hospital, in Northwestern Hospital, and I was about to be discharged. And the lady says, what's your name? I said, oh, the Dibada. She said, what's your name? I said, the Dada. She said, oh, you're having a stroke, take your clothes off. And 2 minutes later, I would have been in a town car. 30 minutes later, I'd have been in a jet taking me back to Cincinnati, and who knows, I may not be here today. And so then just the other day, when I was here in Houston, my first day here, I'm going out to, the guys driving me out to a car show, and some guy comes by 90 miles an hour, side swipes the car that I'm in, and I was just putting on my seatbelt and I should have had it on already. And
Especially driving in Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a pretty normal experience.
Well,
yeah.
I'm telling you, hey, the guy swerved like this, and I didn't think the car touched us. And I'm like, man, that was close. I was on the phone talking to my wife. I spilt my coffee. That's what I was really pissed off about. And so then I got out of the car, and then I got scared because I saw tire marks on the whole left side of the car. And I was like, man, I was close, to getting flipped over or spun around another lane or whatever it is. So, all my life I've just felt that I had, a guardian angel and somebody looking out for me and looking out for my family. And so I've been blessed in many, many ways. I'm very grateful and thankful. Not that I've always lived the way I was supposed to live, but I always had a guilty conscience to know what I'm supposed to do or know, how I'm supposed to live. And so I've tried to pass that on to others. I probably have, 20 kids all over the country. No, not 20 of my kids. But I got, 20 kids that I've tried to raise, the right way. I got some black kids, some Mexican kids, some Jewish kids, some white kids, all kids. And I love kids. And my dad loved kids. Our house was a house where, everybody would come over to our house. We'd always have a pot of beans on the stove. We'd always have some collard greens and some cornbread or something for people to eat. Now, my dad would put you to work. He'd feed you, but he'd put you to work. And, my mom and dad,
No free lunch around here.
No.
Yeah.
I heard that. But the thing about it, they gave, more of my story, they gave me a work ethic, and my sister told me the other day, you're just like Dad. You just like to work. And I was like, yeah, something? I do like to work. And, a lot of my friends have retired early, but the ones that I knew retired early, about half of them have, dementia or Alzheimer's or something, to that effect, because they're not keeping their brain sharp and they're not staying alert.
Yeah. Well, Dusty, we are grateful that you survived to come manage the Astros. I can tell you from a player's perspective, even from an opposing player's perspective, you have created a great legacy in baseball. There's nobody that I've ever talked to that didn't say Dusty is the man. He is respected and cherished throughout the game of baseball, and we certainly are thrilled that you came to manage the Houston Astros to a world championship, and I just am glad to get to know you a little bit better.
My dad was a man.
Yeah.
And I'd get in a tight in a game, and I could hear my dad talking to me. And like I said, I'm just a chip off the old block. Off the old block. And my dad, Big John, he was the man where we came from. So I just try to hopefully make my dad proud, make the Lord proud, make Hank Aaron proud, and my mom and dad both for I'm grateful for raising me. And when I think about my dad, my dad didn't spare the rod, and it seemed like I got a whipping like every day. But on the other hand, I think I deserve damn near everything.
Well, we're thrilled that you have continued that legacy, and I'm honored to know you, and we're very thankful that you spent some time here.
I like that.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with you.
No, but
the coolest.
No, but I looked over there. I thought that was a professor. I said, man, that dude's he's lecturing.
I did go to Rice, so.
Okay.
Dusty Baker, ladies and gentlemen.